Before making your first film, which is The Black Coat's Daughter, you had never directed neither short film or episodic series. I wonder if your acting and screenwriting experience help you in any way with your directing work.
I think just being around it as much as I had been around it for my whole life permits a certain level of comfort. And you know, I'd thought a lot about movies for a long time. I just hadn't made one. And when it came to Black Coat's Daughter, I really knew everything about it. There was a long ramp up between sort of writing it and developing it and finding money to do it. Like, it took a long time. And when you have enough time to sit with something, you really do come to know it pretty well. So by the time we were rolling cameras, I had it all pretty much in my head. And yeah, growing up with people in the business and growing up with actors and around actors, maybe I know what to say sometimes, and maybe what I say makes sense. And yeah.
Now, Maica, your filmography is full of appearances in horror and thriller films. What is your relationship with horror films in general? Why do you mainly choose such roles? What attracts them?
I don't know.
What's your relationship to it?
I'm just, praying for a lighthearted rom-com to come my way. I grew up loving horror. I was obsessed. I was obsessed with the feeling that I had while watching those types of films. And then, the first couple movies that really took off was It Follows and The Guest, and that kind of set me on this path. I read a lot of scripts, and...
Aren't they wonderful?
Oh, well, aren't they all just so wonderful?
Aren't scripts just great?
No, there's a lot of really bad stuff, and I seem to gravitate towards these darker, more complex stories and characters, I guess.
Is it harder to play and build a character who has to undergo a very clear transformation in the film?
Well, I would tell you, it's great to talk with you, and I would say you have the absolute perfect poster behind you, and hopefully we'll put Long Legs right next to it one day. I didn't know what was going to happen with the character, but I was in for the ride. And that's really all we ask of the audience, that they be in for the ride. And it was quite a ride, just to delve into this world of this serial killer, of course, played by Nicolas Cage, and what brings him to this place where he needs to kill people multiple times. So yeah, it was definitely a challenge, but an interesting and fun ride, if you will.
I love characters that are challenging above all else. When I read a script and it makes me tingle with excitement because I need to work on this and really think about what's going on in Ruth's mind over the span of weeks or months leading up to it. So I didn't find it hard. I found it give me more of that. That's what I can do. And to have a partner like Osgood Perkins on the other side of the camera, leading me and guiding me, all I had to do was let go when I was on set and trust that Ruth was in there, and she just had to come out and be free. I haven't watched the movie, and I'm not going to watch it because the character that I played is so not me. But I think something in me needed to be released with that character, and it remains on screen for you to see, but not for me to see. I have Polish in my heritage. My great-grandfather's name was Witkowski.
Wow.
So that's where my name comes from. I'm a Pole.
What aren't you telling me?
In one scene of the film, we can see a photo of Bill Clinton on the wall. Why did you decide to place the action of the film specifically in the 1990s?
The invitation to the audience was, hey, remember Silence of the Lambs? Remember the patent excellence of that? Well, I'm going to try to sort of drift on some of the power of that movie and invite audiences to sort of re-experience that energy, that sort of use some of the energy of that picture for my own purposes. And so, you know, some of the scenes are actually lifted just from Silence of the Lambs. When she goes into Carter's office for the first time to see the board of all the evidence, that's just the first scene of Silence of the Lambs. And so I wanted to situate it as closely as I could. So we picked the early 90s. It was supposed to, in the script, it was written as 1992. And then I realized that if I did that, I'd have to be looking at George fucking Bush in one of these pictures. So I just bumped it to 93. So it's at least Brother Bill. Not like he's some god or anything, but it's at least better than that shit.
I assume you've already seen the final version of the film. So how did you experience it? What do you think Long Legs is about, and what Long Leg is about for you?
You know, I saw it a couple months ago, and to me, it's an ultimate battle of good and evil. You know, the part of that battle is, will we allow evil to persist? Will it continue, or will good ultimately win out? And that's the question, and that's what the audience is left with when they walk away from the theater. Did love and righteousness and good win out, or does evil persist, or was evil muted out?